When I was 6 years old, I got my mom a beautiful chess box. I'd been saving my pocket money for months to buy it.
Look what I got you, Mommy. Happy birthday.
Mom looked at the box for a few seconds, then threw it on the floor and stomped on it. What a stupid gift. What am I supposed to do with this? Can't you ever be normal, like your sisters? And she threw it in the garbage. Just then, my two older sisters came running in and handed Mom their present. It was a mug with a picture of the three of them printed on it. I wasn't even in the picture. Mom gave them a tight hug and said it was the best birthday present ever. I burst into tears and shut myself up in my room. I took out my own chess set and started playing. Chess was my thing. I was obsessed with it. Dad had left us when we were little because he thought that marriage and kids was too much responsibility for him. I looked exactly like my dad, so Mom took out all her anger on me. Anything I did seemed to get on her nerves. Even my older sisters seemed to hate me, and they blamed me for everything. One time they failed all their exams, and they said it was my fault.
She always has company over to play chess, and they make so much noise. We weren't able to study for the tests.
What? Mom started shouting at me and said I had to clean their rooms for a month to make up for my poor sisters. I'd had enough. In your dreams, Mom. And I walked off and locked myself up in my room. I didn't come out for the next few days. I just kept playing chess alone. One day, when I was in the 3rd grade, I invited a friend over to my place. He was my chess partner at school. I was afraid my family would be rude to him, but they seemed delighted to have him over. My sisters ran to the store and came back with a huge basket of chocolates and toys for him. They were practically drooling over him, which is so gross.
Seriously? Why are you friends with Mia? She's such a loser.
Be our friend instead.
No. Be our brother and come live with us.
That's even better. He looked completely terrified and ran out of my house as fast as he could. I yelled at Mom and my sisters, but they said it was my fault, and every guy just left because of me. Turned out my family wasn't the only one who hated me. When I was in the 5th grade, our history teacher started off the lesson by saying, "Millions of years ago, when humans and dinosaurs used to live together, it was only safe for men to go out at night for food." Wait, what? I raised my hand. Ma'am, that's just not true. The teacher glared at me. What's not true? Dinosaurs and humans never coexisted. Of course they did. Haven't you seen all those movies where people are running away from the dinosaurs? That's fiction, ma'am. Humans actually came 64 million years after dinosaurs became extinct. Stop making things up. You're really rude. And I'm going to call your mom. When the teacher called her, Mom said she already knew I was a bad girl, and she was too busy to come and get me. Just send her home. She can walk. As I was packing up my stuff to leave, I was called into the principal's office. Oh no, was I in more trouble? Feeling really nervous, I went to the principal's office and found him beaming at me. Congratulations, Mia. You'll be bumped up a grade because you're a brilliant kid. I was thrilled. This was sure to make Mom happy. When I got home and told her, she jumped up from the couch in shock. Oh my God, this is the worst news ever. Am I going to have to buy you new books? I was so disappointed. Just as I was walking out of the room, I heard her say, "Mia, you know what? Education means nothing if you're not pretty like your sisters." Ugh, why did she have to be like this? I was moved up a grade and started spending more time at the local library. At least I got some peace and quiet there. One day, I saw a flyer on the board about a monthly chess competition, and I decided to participate. I was easily able to beat my competitor, and I won a small amount of money. Of course, I didn't tell anyone at home about the money I'd won. This was going to be my little secret. One day at the library, an old blind man came up to me. I'd often seen him here before, sitting alone. He smiled at me. "Wanna play chess with me, little hero?" I laughed and said I'd beat him easily. He simply said, "Try me." So I played with him, and to my shock, I lost. "You're talented, but you need more practice." After several months had passed and we had been playing together daily, the blind man said one day that I was ready. For what? "The international competition I've been preparing you for." I'd won more local competitions and had some money saved up. There was no way I was telling Mom where I was really going. I told her that Dad had contacted me and sent me a ticket to visit him. Whatever. Do you think I care about what you do? I went to the competition with the blind man and a few other competitors from my area. It was a really tough game, but I used all my wits and knowledge and won. And my prize was $200,000. When I stepped forward to collect my check, the organizers asked me my age, and then they refused to give me my money. They said I needed a legal guardian, and the blind man wasn't even related to me. Despite all my protests, they called my mom and said they'd transfer the money to her. When I got home that evening, Mom ran to me and smothered me with hugs and kisses. I knew she was just after my money. She'd made all my favorite things for dinner, and at the end of it, she brought out a huge chocolate cake with candles. But Mom, it's not even my birthday. Do I need a reason to celebrate my favorite daughter? Come now, darling, blow out the candles. My sisters kept glaring at me all night like they wanted to eat me. They were really unhappy. The next night when I got back from the library, I saw a sleazy-looking guy in his 50s sitting on the couch. He took one look at me and said, "Oh my God, your mom really wasn't kidding. You're ugly." I felt really mad and told him to shut up and leave immediately. "Oh, ugly and rude? May God help your mama." He walked out of the house, slamming the door behind him. Just then, Mom came running into the lounge with a tray of drinks. Where did the man go? I told her he was really rude to me, so I'd told him to get lost. The tray went crashing from Mom's hands to the floor. "You what? Stupid girl, do you have any idea what you've done? That guy is a big-shot businessman who can turn us into the future Kardashians." I was horrified. I told her there was no way I was getting plastic surgeries done to make me look so fake. "Fine, your sisters will," I yelled at her. "You can't use my money to get those stupid surgeries." Stop being so melodramatic, honey. Just participate in another competition and win some more money. Simple. I threatened to call Dad and said I would sue her, but she just laughed like a maniac and said he'd probably forgotten all about his ugly daughter by now. I ran to my room and screamed into my pillow in anger. I hated her. Since my older sister Amanda was 19, she was legally allowed to have plastic surgeries. Her face looked so different now, I could no longer even recognize her. But Mom thought it was amazing. "Darling, you're going to make us so rich with that beautiful face. You look just like a Hollywood star." Amanda looked at her and said, "Yeah, I've been meaning to tell you. I'm going to be a Hollywood star. I've been offered a really great role in a huge movie." Mom looked beyond delighted. "Well, that's perfect. You'll make us all tons of money." Yeah, right, Mom. I'm leaving for good and don't expect a penny. Just forget you even have a daughter named Amanda." Just then, a black limousine drove up outside our house, and with a bye, Amanda hopped in and left. Mom stood there with her mouth open, then turned to me, glaring. "You better participate in a new competition and make more money soon, or else." No way. And with that, I walked off to my room. I was quite surprised when Katya followed me a little later on. She said it was really unfair how Mom had wasted all my money on Amanda. Her eyes fell on my chess set, and she asked me if I would teach her. I was really happy that someone was finally taking an interest and said, "Sure, why not?" We had a great time playing chess all evening. The next day when I opened up YouTube, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It looked like Mom had been filming us while I'd been teaching Katya last evening, and the two of them had edited the footage to make it look like she was the professional and I was the beginner. Thankfully, my face was covered, but I was so mad. I went downstairs to find the two of them huddled over their phones and talking excitedly about how many likes and comments they had on the video already. I started yelling at them for being a bunch of frauds. Mom just looked up at me and said, "Listen, the video is already out and people love it. They can hardly believe that a beautiful girl like Katya is such a genius. So, here's our plan. You keep doing your crazy thing and practice chess and play online, and Katya will record you and post videos. It'll only be like 3 videos a week." Seriously? Mom was just shameless. Why on earth would I do that? Because we'll give you your share of the money, and then you can finally leave for good. I don't care if you do, but only after your sister is famous. Okay, that sounded fair to me. So I shook hands with her on it. It was a deal. Things went fine for a while. I was doing what I loved, and my sister kept making videos of me and uploading them. The channel was getting more popular, and Katya was getting really famous. I finally had the peace and quiet I always dreamed of. Most evenings, I was busy studying in the library and working on my plan to get out of here. One night, I got a letter and started screaming with joy. When Mom asked me why, I told her that I'd been accepted for a scholarship and I was going to China as an exchange student. I thought Mom wouldn't even care. But she went completely nuts. She tried snatching the letter from me, but I quickly slipped it inside my shirt. She kept shouting that I couldn't go and just leave all of her hard work she had put into making the channel famous. But I wasn't listening to her nonsense anymore. I was done, and I was leaving. The blind man is really unwell. He's asking for you, Mia. He needs his little friend. I felt shocked and immediately ran out of the house to go see him. When I reached his place, the front door was half open. I walked inside, and it was all dark. I kept calling his name, but there was no response. After I'd searched the whole house, I left feeling really worried. When I got back home, Katya went down on her knees and started crying, begging me to stay. I turned to Mom and asked her what had happened to the blind man. "Oh, he's fine. He doesn't live at that address anymore. And I just said all that stuff so I had a chance to tear up your passport." As I stared at it in horror, every horrible thing she'd ever said and done came rushing back to me, and I just snapped. I leapt forward to attack her, but Katya stood up quickly and came between us. Suddenly, Mom said that she felt dizzy and fell back on the couch. I need a doctor." When the doctor came and examined Mom, he told us something really shocking. Mom had broken heart syndrome. She needed really good care, and we had to make sure she didn't have any stress. As I sat by her bedside, she took my hand and started crying and apologizing for everything she'd done. She sobbed that it was only because I reminded her so much of Dad. At that moment, I felt really sorry for her. Then she showed me the heart-shaped necklace she'd been wearing for years. Looking at it closely, I was shocked to see my name carved on it. "See, my precious daughter, I've always loved you, but I was never any good at expressing my emotions. I cherish you so much. Please forgive me." I hugged my mom and cried on her chest. From that day on, I just wanted to make Mom happy. I went back to making chess videos with Katya, and I started participating in more competitions and made a lot of money. The smile on Mom's face was everything for me. After I graduated from high school at 16, I had a really important international competition coming up. I practiced with the blind man day after day, and I told him I really needed to win this for Mom. He looked at me solemnly and said, "Kid, the only person you should work hard for is you. Make yourself proud." I didn't want to argue with him, so I just nodded. He wouldn't understand. I just wanted Mom to be really proud to have me as her daughter. The day of the big competition arrived, and Mom and Katya traveled with me to another state. I was really glad to have them by my side for support, especially Mom. Minutes before the competition started, I felt really nervous and wanted Mom to hug me for good luck. I went looking for her backstage when I saw her and Katya talking. What I heard left me shook. "Ugh, Mom, I'm so tired of this. How long are we supposed to suck up to Mia?" "I told you, not before I make a fortune out of that girl's stupid gift." "Why can't you just send her to Dad? You never had to raise a child that isn't yours." "That jerk. He left and thought I'd just raise his child for free?" I couldn't believe it. I stood frozen in my spot. I wanted to yell at them, but I couldn't even speak. Just then, a lady came and dragged me by the arm, saying it was my turn next. As I stepped on the stage, my legs were shaking. My mind felt completely blank. I didn't know what to do or how to play this game. It felt like the whole world was staring at me. I took a deep breath and closed my eyes. I pushed out everything from my mind and only thought about what the blind man had said. I had to do this for me. I played the best game of my life. I could feel the audience's excitement as they started cheering and clapping for me. Checkmate. I had won. The announcer handed me a check for $500,000. When he asked me how I felt, I replied, "I've never felt happier in my life. Today, I gained my freedom. As for the money, I want to donate all of it to charity. Thank you." Mom came running to the stage, screaming like a lunatic. "You can't do that, you crazy little brat." I looked at her coldly. "You're not the boss of me. You're not even my mom. You're no one." Just as she was about to attack me, the security guard stepped forward and took her away. Today, years later, I'm a medical student. I'm living my best life and still helping others. And the blind man, he is my best friend. I turned over in bed and reached for my phone. "Hello? Is this Stephanie?" "Yes. Do you have any idea what time it is?" "Sorry. This is an emergency. See, your uncle has vanished and left you everything." I hung up immediately. It was obviously a prank call. I didn't even have an uncle. I didn't have any family at all. Me being an orphan is why I was so surprised that a visitor asked for me at the orphanage the next day. I looked over at a tall butler with a stern face. "We need to talk about your inheritance, child." I followed him into a limo parked outside to meet with a lawyer. And just like that, I went from a poor orphan to a billionaire. Is this an airport? No, child. This is your new house. House was a bit of an understatement. The manor had over 400 rooms. I had to use a GPS just to get around the place. Luckily, I wasn't alone. My 5 cousins, my uncle's children, were there to help me out. The food was actually the hardest thing to get used to. At my first meal with the whole family, I was so hungry. I finished an entire bowl of what I thought was soup. When I looked up, everyone stared at me with disgust and horror. Stephanie, that was the fancy food for my kitten. I ran to the bathroom, and when I came back, I heard them talking about me. That's the girl Daddy gave his inheritance to? She smells like a peasant. Must be nice. She's the one who pays the bills around here now. I nearly cried. I was so excited to have a family, but to them, I was just a cash cow. They weren't the only ones who treated me differently because of my new money. My phone was blowing up with texts from the orphanage asking if the rumors were true. Ever since people had seen me set foot in the limo, they were spamming me with favors asking for new TVs and video games. Not a single person bothered to ask me what had actually happened. In fact, there was only one person who seemed to care about me at all. "What's wrong, young mistress?" Why did my uncle do this to me?" "He did it for you." "He didn't even know me." Miles led me up a dark corridor to a giant room with a huge canopy bed and a large portrait of a woman who looked just like me. "After your mother's disappearance, he couldn't bring himself to see you. You had a hard life. You having all this money is what he would have wanted." "Well, I was happy with my old life." "You never had to leave it, miss." Just like that, I was on a train back to the orphanage. Despite all the Gucci jackets and Coach bags I now had at home, I decided to just be me. All the other orphans were waiting to greet me. Once I stepped out and they saw that I was wearing poor clothes, the crowd disappeared. "Hey, where are you all going?" "We thought you were rich." I'd never felt so alone. I decided I would never trust anyone again and I'd keep my wealth a secret. Plus, I didn't want anyone to take advantage of me. So hiding my wealth was the best thing to do.
"Are you sure you don't want to go to a private high school? I know of a great prep school in London."
"No, thank you, Miles. I just want to be normal. Plus, I can visit you every week." "Oh no, I'm late for school."
"Oh no, you're not."
Okay, so getting dropped off at school on my first day in a helicopter wasn't the best way to hide my money. By second period, everyone was asking me questions. No one was more intrigued than Eric.
"Those oil tycoon guys use that helicopter. How do you know them?"
"Oh, I'm actually the maid. Yeah, the maid."
"Well, you must be a great maid for that kind of special treatment."
"Oh, I don't know about that."
"Wow, pretty and modest."
I blushed so hard. We had every class together and we hung out nearly every day. Turns out, my uncle and Eric's father were old buddies. One time, I even ran into him at the steps of the mansion.
"Stephanie, what a surprise. They let the help use the front door?"
"Oh, yes, very kind." He pulled me in with a serious face.
"Look, you know I like you, but if my father finds out, well, we need to keep us a secret."
He talked about how romantic it was for him to be dating a maid, just like in a love story. Honestly, he was kind of right. It was thrilling to run around and hide, and I was grateful enough that my family played along with my charade. But my secret wasn't going to stay quiet for long.
One day, I heard a loud noise while I was sitting in class. I saw Miles with 2 bodyguards. Miles was screaming and calling my name. He said to the teacher that I needed to leave class now. I left feeling really embarrassed, and everyone was staring at me. What are you doing? Miss, we checked your calendar, and it's about to be that time of the month, and we do believe you are ill-prepared. What? Let go of me. We just want to save you from embarrassment. He handed me a small box and said, everything is under control now, ma'am. What the? When I got back to the classroom, I panicked and told them it was maid work. Oh, it was just an emergency kidnapping drill we do. The time I met Eric for lunch, there were already some other rumors. Steph, what happened? They say you stole a Da Vinci painting from the mansion. That's why you were arrested in class. It was just a drill, and that painting isn't even that beautiful. A drill for a maid? Eric wasn't dumb, and that's why I decided to show him my mansion. So, at the front door, I said, Eric, there's something I need to tell you. Anything, my love. I leaned over and kissed him. We don't have to be a secret anymore. He pushed me away. Yeah, and while I'm flattered you're obsessed with me, dating a maid isn't really good for my image. He told me not to mistake my need for money and his desperation for a fling with love. What? Just then, Miles opened the door. Oh, hello, mistress. Mistress? The look of shock and surprise on Eric's face was crazy. Yeah, Eric, I don't think you understand. This place is mine. Consider us done. Miles slammed the door right in his shocked face. I was heartbroken and cried for hours. Little did I know, the worst was yet to come. Eric didn't take the rejection so well. Or at all, really. Hey, babe. Eric, we're done. Everyone was staring at us. I dragged Eric into the hallway for some privacy. We should get back together, or maybe everyone will find out the truth, rich girl. My mouth dropped open in shock. Was he blackmailing me? Look, I already told my dad we were dating, and he was thrilled. This is how rich people do their business. Now everyone is happy. I get the perfect wife, and you get the romance you were so desperate for yesterday. Let me assure you, there was nothing romantic about us being together. I couldn't believe I agreed to it. How stupid. He made us hold hands in public and wear matching clothes. He made me get him an internship at my cousin's firm and everything. After all his criticizing and telling me to smile and not embarrass him, I found out he was dating one of the other girls at school. She texted him, I love you, babe, call me tonight, while he was at my house. Wait, you're seeing other girls? I thought I was your perfect wife. For my father, maybe. But you're not being passionate at all. What if I dated another guy? Well, I'm the one with the dirt on you, so I guess you're stuck with me. The next day at recess, a pretty blonde girl came over and sat next to him after kissing him on the cheek with a, hey you. Then she looked at me like I was a cockroach. Who is she and what is she doing here? Oh, don't mind her. She's just a loser who's drooling over me all the time. I think she's a bit of a gold digger. How could he just humiliate me like that in front of everybody? I was so sick of all of this. I went home and ran out into the garden and cried because I felt so hopeless. I stuffed my face with comfort food and sobbed under the little bridge. Soon after, Eric found me there and started yelling at me. This is all your fault, you know. If you want me to stop dating other girls, maybe you should be a better girlfriend. He leaned in for a kiss and I was struggling to pull away. I don't think the lady wants a kiss. I looked up to see the most handsome guy in the whole world. Without warning, the guy punched Eric right in the jaw. I said, the lady doesn't seem like she wants a kiss. Eric charged at him, and before I knew it, the two were tackling each other on the bridge. The stranger managed to push Eric off, but not before Eric had ripped off his shirt sleeve. You'll be hearing from my lawyer. Eric fell over a couple of times as he ran away like a scared little mouse. Thank you. Who are you? I'm just the gardener here. I just get a little defensive when I see pretty girls dealing with jerks. I hope you're not hurt. Nah, I'm fine. Ruined my favorite t-shirt, though. I got so caught up in the moment that I leaned in for a kiss. He pushed me away, and I fell into the mud. Then he ran away. Great move, Steph. Now that Eric was running around my family home, I spent most of my time at the orphanage. One day when I was studying hard in my room, I heard a knock on the door. It was Adam. How did you find me? Oh, I asked Miles for your info, and he graciously told me your address. Did he tell you anything else? Only that you seemed like a sweet girl, and I should apologize. So he didn't know anything about me being rich. I thought I messed everything up. I'm so sorry. No, I'm sorry. I'm just shy. Here, I brought you something to eat as an apology. What? This place is expensive. It's nothing. I would do anything for you to forgive me. He blushed super hard and looked away. He was so cute and shy. The best part? He thought I was the poor one. I know it's lying, but I just didn't want to take the chance that everything would change. Before our date one evening, Adam came by and said there was something he wanted to tell me. There's something I haven't been honest about. See, I'm an orphan too. That's why I never talk about my parents. It's very hard for me. As we sat and talked about it, I felt even closer to him because of this thing we had in common. After a while, he took something out from his coat pocket and said he had a present for me. He asked me to turn around and clasped a beautiful antique necklace around my neck. I gasped when I looked at it. I'd admired it in the window of an antique shop the other day when we were walking by, and he'd just gone and bought it. It must have cost him a fortune. You shouldn't have. Why not? You deserve pretty things, Steph. And I'll always keep the other half of this pendant with me. I had a mansion full of pretty things, but nothing was as special as this. Well, I've got something for you too. I offered him a few t-shirts my cousin had helped me pick out the other day. I smiled and said it was to make up for the one that was ruined in the fight. Steph, these seem like really expensive brands. Where did you get the money to buy them? Oh, God, I hadn't seen this coming. I shouldn't have shopped from the same store as my spoiled cousins do. I guess there's something I haven't been totally honest about either. I told him all about how I was poor, but now I was actually super rich. I just didn't want people to know and take advantage of me. I just wanted to be me. Adam looked betrayed. He just looked at me and said, "And you thought I'd take advantage of you?" He seemed really hurt. Well, maybe. I thought you knew I loved you. Adam got up and said, "Please, just take care of yourself. I don't think you should contact me anymore." And he left, just like that. I was devastated. I cried all night and decided to go back to the mansion and mourn my relationship luxuriously. Miles insisted it would be better that way. Miles had also had some devastating news that was going to bring my pain to a new level. I have to get married? It was in the legal documents. I'm surprised you missed them. But I just broke up with Adam. Well, better now before you needed to. What's that supposed to mean? Miles explained how, as a rich person, marriage was not about love. My cousins were already making plans to break Adam and I up. He wasn't husband material. In fact, my suitor was planning to arrive today. When do I have to get married? Suddenly, I heard Adam's broken voice. I should have known. I'm quitting, Miles. I looked up to see Adam crying. He'd overheard what I'd said, but he didn't understand the whole thing. I ran after him as he dashed out of the room. I begged him to wait, but he said, "No, Steph, we aren't meant to be with each other. I should have known. I'm not good enough for you. Have a great life." As he turned to leave, he threw something on the floor. It was the other half of my necklace. He just ran away, and I couldn't stop crying my heart out. Just then, Eric appeared and handed me a tissue. "Miss me, babe?" I just glared at him. "That's why I don't interact with commoners. They're brutes." "What are you doing here?" "Didn't your cousins tell you? I'm your fiancé." I tried to run away from him, but he grabbed my arm. He told me he was sorry, and if he knew who I was, he would have treated me better. You don't get it, do you? I'm under a lot of pressure from my parents to marry someone wealthy. I was not hearing it, at first at least. My wounds were fresh from the breakup, but he didn't make it easy to reject him. "I brought you a present, my turtle dove." "Is that?" "Of course. A baby elephant." A baby elephant wasn't even the most extravagant gift he gave me. He bought me a private Justin Bieber concert, a solid gold statue of instant noodles, and my very own village. I felt bad, but the whole time he was courting me, I was spamming Adam's phone. I left him about 1,000 messages, and he didn't respond to me on anything. It was time I moved on. If I wanted my inheritance, well, there are worse guys I could be in an arranged marriage with. Will you marry me? Yes. Our wedding was not a private affair. Every TV network, newspaper, and billboard in town had a story about my wedding. It was all happening less than a week after the official proposal. It really was a fairy tale wedding. I should have been happy, right? When everyone saw me walking down the aisle, they made comments about my happy tears. In reality, I was crying because I was devastated. You look stunning, Stephanie. I love you. I guess I'll learn to love you. Right when we were about to say I do and lean in for a kiss, the unthinkable happened. Stop the wedding. You? Oh, Adam. He ran up and kissed me while we were on live TV. Eric and all my cousins positively fainted. Look, I'm sorry, Shut up and kiss me again. There was a wedding that day, but it wasn't between an heiress and a spoiled brat. It was between two best friends.